label the person. You're just getting an idea of what issues had led this person to come to your office or to come to you. And so these people are the same people, they're gonna be coming to your yoga class too, you know. And when they come to your yoga class, you wanna be able to have an understanding of, well, who is this person? And by understanding a person's background, that's how you have compassion for the person, you know. And you're not just labeling them, you stink, or you look this way, get away from me, you know. How did that person get like that? That person didn't choose to be on the street. That person didn't choose to be mentally ill or to appear what we call mentally ill, right? So dealing with stress, and stress is a major killer of who? Black people. Stress is the underlying cause of illness, underlying cause of mortality, which is death, morbidity, which is disease, and also the underlying cause of mental disorders and suicide, right? Those things are very high, you know, in our community, and at the root cause of most substance abuse, you know. So when people are coming to us, they coming to us because they have some kind of distress. So you have stress, and stress can cause distress. In certain situations, stress is good. You know, if I'm walking down the street and somebody try to jump on me, that's going to cause me to have some stress. But the stress is going to generate, it's going to make me kick that person's ass, right? Because they ain't jumping on me. They're not taking my stuff, you know. But, you know, sometimes, you know, if they got a big gun, I might have to just give it the wallet or whatever. But stress, that's why they call it fight or flight. That's what Kari was alluding to. Fight or flight is going to cause you to either run away, to get away from this danger, or to fight, have enough energy. So basically, stress is something that gives you the energy to either fight or run away. But 99% of all the stress that we have does not involve a physical threat to our health and well-being. We just mad at our job or something that's happening at the job. We mad at our significant others. Something is going on with our kids and we have an issue with the kids, and all these things are generating stress. Or you watching the news or reading the newspaper, or you going through your bills at the end of the month or whatever, and these things are generating the same reaction you would have as if somebody was trying to jump on you, or you was being attacked in some way by an animal or somebody, right? And so why does the body react in that way? The theory, you know, is that when human beings were developing from, if you deal with the evolution theory, human beings are developing from a primitive state, and we're living in nature, we're living in contact with animals that are predators that can get us. And we may have neighbors someplace and some neighboring group of people, and they want to attack you and take your stuff. And so we evolved in such a way to give us the internal resources to fight against that. So you have fight or flight. You can run real fast when you're really scared, right? You can fight real hard, you get extra strength. That's what all those different physiological reactions are. They're designed to give you strength, to run or fight, and they also designed to make you think faster, because your sense of time actually slows down when you're in a really dangerous situation. And that allows you, even though time is still going at the same rate, your perception of time slows down. For example, I was in a car accident one time, and I could see the accident happening. And it happened just like that. But I could see my car skidding. I could see my car about to hit this other dude's car. I could see the other dude turn his head like this and look towards me. And his eyes get big, and he started to dive away from the side of the car where the impact was gonna happen. And it happened like that, but I saw all of this stuff very clearly, right? I saw when my car hit, I saw my windows pop out, and I saw all this stuff, right? So, so that's part of the stress response. So the stress response actually helps us when it occurs at the proper place and time. But 99% of the time, we're dealing with things that doesn't require fight or flight. Okay, but our bodies haven't figured out for whatever reason, but you with the evolution or whatever, our bodies haven't figured out to not have stress just because you read your heat bill in January and it's way high, but your body reacts as if you've been attacked. Okay, so.
Yes, sir. Can you give the definition again for stress when you said it's a physiological perception and
it's a psychological perception.
Okay, psychological perception.
Yeah, so you perceive something with your mind. You perceive an event or a situation around you that you perceive it as a threat, or you perceive it as uncomfortable, or you could perceive it as dangerous. And that perception triggers the physiological reaction within your body. And that physiological reaction is what we're going to talk about. People mention adrenaline, cortisol, all those things. We're going to get into those things. Because when you're doing yoga, what are you doing? You are actually dialing back your body's reaction to the stress. So like Kyrie was talking about mindfulness, right? Being mindful. How do you become mindful? You have to train yourself to become mindful, because the stress reaction or the stress response is automatic. Okay, and so you don't think about it. When you become scared, frightened, or feel stressed, you don't think about it. Say, I think I should feel stressed. It happens automatically. And so so we have to. So the key is, how do we get in touch with our automatic reactions and not allow everything to be automatic? So in the field of mindfulness, in the mindfulness study or mindfulness meditation, they talk about being on autopilot, right? So when you're on autopilot, things are just happening and you're not in control. You're not paying attention. So mindfulness means I'm going to pay attention. So when when the symptoms of stress start to occur, I'm aware of them, and then I can have a intervention, right? That's what social workers do. They create interventions. The person is in this cycle of behaviors and thinking that is causing the disruption in their personal/professional life. So your intervention is to break that cycle and to get them to do something that's more appropriate and more fitting to the situation. So when you're under stress, you don't want to just like, I feel like stress, I'm going to hit my wife. I'm under stress, I'm going to whoop my kids. I'm under stress, I'm going to eat a whole bunch of food that I don't need. Or I'm under stress, I'm going to go shoot some dope or snort some dope or something. That's the intervention. What am I going to do as an alternative to that that's going to be positive and adaptive versus something that's going to be destructive, right? And so we have to understand how the nervous system operates to understand this process. This is something they don't even teach social workers and psychologists and doctors. They don't even teach them this stuff. The nervous system, the central nervous system, has two parts, right? You have one part which you can call voluntary, another part which you can call involuntary. So the voluntary part of my nervous system allows me to say, I'm going to pick up this orange juice and drink some of it, right? I'm going to go walk to the store. I'm going to move my legs and walk, right? Involuntary part of your central nervous system You drink the orange juice, it goes into your stomach, and what does it do? It starts to digest. The digestion is going to happen automatically. All the time, my heart is beating. My heart has been beating since I was an embryo, right? And I didn't have to tell it to beat. I don't tell it to stop. I don't tell it to do anything. It just does its thing, right? My blood circulates. My nerve endings send, electrical impulses through my body to tell my body what to do. All of these things are happening on an automatic basis. But then you have then you have a voluntary part of your nervous system. Okay, well, I said voluntary already, right? So you have voluntary, involuntary. Now, so your circulatory system, that's involuntary, right? It operates by itself. Your respiratory system, that is the only system of your body which is both voluntary and involuntary. If you don't think about it, you breathe. But when we do Sahu pose, mummy pose, when we do our movements and postures, we are consciously breathing. We're controlling the slow flow of breath into the body. We're controlling the slow flow of breath out of the body. And that is the only system of your body which is both. So controlling the respiratory system is the key to being able to control the involuntary parts of your nervous system, or at least to affect them, right? And to have some influence upon them, right? So I can make my heartbeat slow down. I can make my blood pressure lower. I can make my digestive system kick in and digest better. And many other functions of the involuntary part of the central nervous system. I can affect many of those things by simply understanding how to control my breathing. That's why the most fundamental thing that we do in yoga is learning how to breathe. When you look at the word respiratory, you take off the prefix RE and take off the part at the end of ORY. The prefix RE means to do again. I don't even know what ORY means. It means Ori, right? It means something. And then the middle part of the word, the root of the word is spirit. Read spirit, Ori, system. So spirit is energy. Every time you take in a breath and let go of the breath, you are spiritizing yourself. You are energizing yourself, okay? And that's where the root of that word is spirit, okay? And so let's go deeper into understanding the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system itself, that's your involuntary part of your nervous system. That has two parts to it. It has one part is for emergency, the other part is for maintenance functions, right? So that emergency part of your central nervous system, of your autonomic nervous system, that's your fight or flight. That's something that occurs automatically. Excuse me. Your involuntary part, your maintenance part is called parasympathetic. Your body has the ability to heal itself, to regulate itself, to bring itself into a state of homeostasis, a state where everything is equalized, everything is balanced. Your body has the ability to repair itself. If you have an injury, if you have disease factors taking place in your body, you can, your body can intercept those disease processes and can change them and start to heal itself. That's what you call your immune system. Your immune system identifies viruses, germs, carcinogenic or cancer cells that have come in contact with a carcinogen and became mutated. And it's not the type of cell that you want to have reproducing into your body because it'll turn into a tumor, right? So your body, your immune system has the ability to take care of those things. And it does those things on an automatic basis. You don't have to tell your immune system what to do. but stress weakens the immune system. That's why so many diseases are associated with stress. 80% at least of all diseases that people get are associated with stress. That if there was to manage stress, reduce stress, those diseases would not take hold in the body. Okay, so you got sympathetic versus parasympathetic. In an emergency situation, you need to sympathetic. But when it's not an emergency, you need to have a maintenance function. So think about your sympathetic nervous system like, where'd Deborah go? When they had that hurricane, y'all was you around when they had that hurricane a few years ago? And I don't, but if you know a hurricane coming, it might blow your house over. You're gonna board up the windows, you're gonna do different things, you're gonna put up some sandbags. You're not gonna be like, oh, let me paint the wall and put up some new this or some new that. You're gonna be doing stuff just to protect your house. You might put extra holes in the wall when you put the boards up, but you don't care about that. You just cared about, I'm trying to protect my house from the hurricane. So think about the sympathetic nervous system the same way. A whole wide variety of things happen when the sympathetic nervous system is activated that are protecting you from the immediate danger that your mind is perceiving. Okay? So the digestive system slows down because when your perception, when your body or your mind is perceiving that it's under threat, it's saying, I'm not going to put energy and resources into digesting food. I'm going to put those resources into fighting and running away. So instead of energy being around in the central core of your body, the energy goes, like your blood circulation, it goes into your extremities to get you ready to fight or to run, right? And so therefore, it affects your digestive system. So let's think about if you're under chronic stress, then you have a constant state of indigestion, lack of nutrients being absorbed into your body. The nutrients are not being digested, the food is not being digested, therefore assimilation is not taking place. So you're not even assimilating and absorbing the nutrients into your body properly, okay? So think about this too. You see a deer or some animal, like a prey animal, like an animal that other predators like to eat, right? They go down to the water, to the little pond, and they in there drinking the water. Then the lion pop out and try to grab it, right? Then the deer or the antelope, whatever it is, it runs real fast and it gets away. And it's like when it's running, it's like its eyes is big, it's trying to get away. Then it gets away, right? What does the antelope do? Does it like say, "Oh my God, oh that lion almost got me"? And does it have dreams about the lion like for the next 10 years? Oh, I was ate by a lion, right? It calms down immediately. Once it sees itself as out of danger, it goes back to being a deer or an antelope or a sheep, whatever it is, and it's just, happy again. You understand? But a human being, we have memories, right? That's what we call PTSD. If a lion jumped out that almost got me, for the next 10 years I have nightmares, be like, God damn, I remember that time. That lion almost ate me, I was so scared. And so you have a memory of those things. See, the animals, they don't have that type of consciousness, right? And so they can process it, they move on, But we don't do that. That's, so we have this thing called PTSD, so we have that memory. So because you have that memory, you're going to go for a long time feeling that stress. And if that stress lasted for like 6 weeks, right? Say 6 weeks later, you still feeling the same stress. 2 months later, you still in the same stress. 3 months later, you feeling the same stress. And then you start snapping on people. You get suspended, fired from your job. You start drinking, smoking. Then you got a disorder. That's how the DSM thing is supposed to work, you know. You know, that's how it's supposed to work, because then you say, okay, now you see a disruption in the person's personal and professional life. So now you can say, okay, well, this person needs some help. You need to talk to somebody, get some intervention, need some counseling, right? So another symptom of stress besides the slower digestion is that you have faster breathing. So you need more oxygen supplied to your brain and to the muscles to allow more energy. So you can have more energy from your breath, from the oxygen, so you can get away from the danger, okay? So you see this happen. You see breathing increase, right? And so one of y'all in here is a police officer. I don't want to say, because y'all might not want nobody to know you're a police officer. But you recognize these things. When you're looking at people, you learn how to recognize that person is panicking, or that person is stressed, you know. Like every time I go through customs coming back to the United States, they ask me they always get me with these questions. I'll be like, but they ask you questions to trip you up, you know, to see if you lying or not. Like when I came back the last time, they said, what's your profession? What job do you have? I was like, I'm retired. I ain't got no job, you know. And then I realized I'm actually retired. I ain't got no job or nothing. I do this, but I'm retired. Okay? I don't do nothing but this. Okay? So you have increased heart rate. So just think about all these different symptoms of stress, right? Think about what effect they're having upon your physiology of your body. So you have increased heart rate because more blood is needed to fuel the body. Blood pressure rises, forces more blood into your large muscles, your arms, to help you for fighting and running. Blood moves away from the central core. So when your body is in a state where it's taking care of itself, it's repairing itself, it's fixing anything that may have been identified that needs to be fixed, this is where your energy is located, in your central core of your body. All of your internal organs are receiving blood. The blood carries nutrients. All the different functions are being carried out. But when you're under stress, those things are not happening. Your blood is going out to your extremities to help you to run or to fight. So you get muscle tension, right? Where do people like to get the massage at the most? Right up in the neck and the shoulders, right? Because that's where that trapezius muscle is, right? So you can see people, you see some people who are under so much stress, they ain't got no neck no more. They be walking around like this all the time. Like they ain't got no neck. So I just wanted to grab them, just find your neck. Your neck, you must have a neck, you know. And so you want to, so there's that neck, them shoulders bow up in response to, like, you know, you under stress. You on alert all the time. Just think about what it is to be black. To be black, you always on alert.
Yeah, always on alert.
You know, when I was a student, when I was at working on my master's in social work, I went to University of Chicago, right? So it's on a nice campus in Chicago. And I come out of the building at night and I'm walking down the street and it's a white woman in front of me, right? And my mind automatically said, don't walk too fast, don't get too close to her, don't make her feel threatened. And then I became conscious that I was thinking like this. And it pissed me off. I got mad at myself and I got mad at the situation because I said, why should I care about what this white woman thinks? But it's a survival mechanism that's built into black people that you have to act a certain type of way, because look how many black people have been killed, lynched, all kind of other stuff because of some white woman, right? You know, that they're not even interested in or you care nothing about. But doing anything, driving your car, being black being black, walking down the street being black, going to school being black, go to work being black, go to the Airbnb and being black. You know, you can't do nothing to be black without being under threat of something. So you wind up having, maybe you're not conscious of it, but you always on alert. So we have higher blood pressure. We have higher rates of hypertension and all the different diseases and disorders that go along with hypertension, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, all those things. We have much higher rates of all those different issues because we are in a chronic state of stress oftentimes, right? That's why yoga is so important. That's why meditation and breathing is so important, because that's our intervention, okay, to take us away from that, okay? We have certain chemicals that the blood releases, that the body releases into the bloodstream that cause your blood to clot, okay? Because your body is anticipating. Your body doesn't know that you're just looking at your gas bill or that you driving your car going through Mississippi or something. You know, your body just knows that you're having a reaction. So it releases blood clotting chemicals into the bloodstream in anticipation that you might get injured or cut. And so it's like so it has these chemicals there to help you to stop the blood, to stop the flow of blood quickly, right? Just like anybody been in the military, like in the military, right? They send out they got some body bags. Okay, some of y'all gonna be dead, so they send out some body bags. They send out so many drugs. They send out so many things to stitch people and repair people's bodies and stuff like that, you know. And so your own body does the same thing in anticipation of the battle. We're about to go to war, you know. And so your body is not, your body don't know that your brain is just thinking about your bill or your spouse or whoever. Perspiration. We sweat more when we get under stress, right? That's another sign. You be looking at somebody, like you the police and stuff, you look at somebody or you the investigator, whatever, you the social worker, and you say, that person really is sweating a lot. He's like, whoosh, you know, and that keeps you cool. That's why when you go to the airport, the U.S. is stupid, right? You have this gigantic security thing they spend billions and billions of dollars for because they scared somebody gonna try to hijack the plane. The Israelis, they just have some dudes like this. And then they go up to somebody and ask them questions. And that's how they figure out who ain't supposed to be or who's a threat. They don't spend our money on all that kind of crazy stuff, you know. And so you can look at people, you can see the signs of stress. That's why they have people who are trained to know when somebody is lying. Because, you could appear to be lying, but oftentimes there's certain telltale things that you reveal, okay? So sweating, perspiration, and you see these commercials on TV, right? Where they got a person, they raise the arm up and they wet underneath there, and they say, oh my God, I was so embarrassed because I had a wet spot underneath my arm. And so they try to sell you what? Some deodorants that are antiperspirants. And to make it so that, why is it an antiperspirant? Because it's going to clog up your sweat glands so nothing comes out, which is going to give you breast cancer, whether you're a male or female, among other things, and lymphatic cancer and all kind of stuff, because you got your lymph nodes and all other type of sensitive things underneath your arms and throughout your body. And what is that stuff made out of? One of it is aluminum chlorohydrate, right? They found aluminum in the brains of people with Alzheimer's and stuff, right? So that aluminum accumulates in the brain and it interferes with the signals, electrical signals in the brain going from one place to the next. And so then they say, oh, the person is senile, Alzheimer's. The person got aluminum in their brain, heavy metals, okay? So that's why you don't want to use those commercial deodorants. Don't even use Tom's. Tom's is owned by Colgate Palmolive, like the Tom's brand. Don't use that crap. Don't use Tom. All of these different natural food companies, many of them have been purchased by big corporations. You know, so even this Beyond Burger and all that stuff, they owned by Tyson Foods is an owner. But Morningstar being garbage ever since the inception. Yeah, but now they're pushing this Beyond Burger and I forget the other names, Impossible. But all of that stuff is owned by Tyson. Bill Gates is involved. It's an investor. All these different people. So you want to be leery of all that kind of stuff. Now this is a very, very important factor right here, which is fundamental. Which is one of the fundamental things in terms of understanding some of the disease processes that take place amongst Black people. Fats and sugars pour into the bloodstream from areas of the body where it's normally stored. So we know that we store fat like here, we store it here, we store it back here. We store fat all kind of weird places and stuff. Sometimes people have the fat just hanging off right here. And so what is the function of your body storing fat?
For energy.
For survival. There are times, now this is going back to the evolutionary theory. So a lot of people don't believe in evolution and stuff like that. But I think it has a little bit of credence, but you know, you can take it or leave it. So when human beings, like in ancient Africa, we know that at one point in time, the ancient Egyptians, they created what's called civilization, right? So you had a complex social structure, but you had people who produce food, and it gave other people time to do things like think, become philosophers, become scientists, invent writing, do all kind of, because they didn't have to because they weren't hunters and gatherers anymore, right? They didn't have to go from one place to the next, hunt for some food, gather some fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds and stuff, and then move on to the next place. Because when you live like that, there is periods of time where you don't have any food, right? And so your body has to have something in reserve. So therefore you get the big booty, and that's your reserve. So your body's gonna be living off of that. Your body's gonna be living off this stored fat for that period of time that you don't have access to it. So that's a theory, okay, of why people store fat in their body, right? But whatever the case, whatever the purpose, whatever the original evolutionary point of it is that we have this stored fats and sugars. So we store sugars in the form of glucose, right? And we store that in the body. And when we are under stress, we release this into the bloodstream. So it's different ways to induce stress, right? If you like to exercise, you like to get on your bike, get on the treadmill, go on an elliptical machine, the Stairmaster, whatever you do, walk, run, jog, whatever you do, that puts stress on your body, okay? And when you produce that stress by doing those type of cardiovascular type of exercises, you release the stored you release the stored fat and the stored sugar into your bloodstream. But because you're actually doing something, you're burning it up. That's how you become fit. That's why you lose weight when you exercise. That's why you reduce body fat when you exercise, because you're actually burning it up. So you're inducing the stress response, but in a positive way. So again, you got stress and you have distress, okay? So the negative effects of stress is what we call distress. But just inducing stress in some way doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Okay? And the difference between exercise, physical exercise, and yoga is that physical exercise actually stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. It stimulates the stress response. Yoga stimulates the parasympathetic, the relaxation response. But it's good to stimulate the stress response when you exercise, because then that causes you to become fit. Okay? And so fit means that my body can operate at a high level of energetic engagement, so to speak, right? I'm doing a lot of activity, but I have a minimum amount of heart rate increase. So my heart rate is not increasing that much, even though I'm engaged. When I am unfit and I try to do a little exercise, heart rate goes up real high. And I'd be like, oh, okay. I don't feel like doing this. So at about 3 to 5 minutes, right? After 3 to 5 minutes, you tell yourself, I feel like stopping. But then you get a what they call the second wind, right? And you can keep on going, right? That's because the fasting sugars on kicked in, and they're giving you that extra energy. So your body's gonna burn that fat, it's gonna burn that sugar, and you're gonna become fit. And as you become more fit, in terms of conditioning yourself on a continuous, regular basis, it's gonna take less energy and less effort for you to do the same level of exercise, and you can increase your level of exercise to become more fit. So it's just like your car. Your car got 5 gears. You got one gear called overdrive, right? Okay, that's your 5th gear. When you go into overdrive, you look at the RPM, revolutions per minute, the tachometer on your car. It actually goes down. How many revolutions per minute that your engine is moving at decreases, and you're more efficient, and you're burning fuel more efficiently. That's how you want your body to be. You want to be at a high level of peak performance. Is that a commercial? You want to be at peak performance, but then you want to have, you're not putting out the same amount of energy. So you want to be able to do a lot of work with a low amount of output, okay? And the same principle applies to when you eat food. I call it the economics of food. When I eat food, I don't want to eat a whole bunch of food that takes a lot of energy for me to digest it. So then after I eat it, I'll be like, you get the itis and all that kind of stuff, right? You want to eat food that gives you a high amount of energy and takes a small amount of energy to digest. That's why you eat your superfoods, your bee pollen, your spirulina, your chlorella, your moringa. Y'all know about baobab?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's from the baobab tree in Africa. Yeah, and I got a whole bunch of that stuff when I went to Gambia. I got
the fresh one or the dry one?
Well, it's the powder. I ain't got, it's the powder.
The fresh fruit is good. The fresh fruit is good.
No, I just got the powder, because they come in a pod, and then they got to break it off. Yeah. I just got the powdered fruit. Yeah. But you can't bring all that stuff back to the U.S. on the plane.
But I had the fresh one when I was in Senegal, because it's like kind of remind you of the cocoa powder.
Yeah.
And the seed, and then it has the fruit around it, and so that's what you're sucking off.
Yeah, I've only seen it dry. I've never seen
They sell it in the African stores, like the African markets. Some of them are selling
Is the fruit wet?
No, it's dry.
Oh.
It's like a white chalky.
Yeah, that's how I've seen it, but I never ate it like that.
It's called baobab, the tree. The seed is still being inside and the fruit is dried on the outside, or if they take it all off, it's the powder form.
Yeah, when you see pictures of Africa and you see that big, majestic looking tree, that's I call it the baobab, but the Africans call it baobab. Yeah.
That big old tree. It's huge.
Yeah, and it has these pods on it, but the fruit or the stuff that come out of the pods are it's a superfood, and so it has all kinds of different minerals, vitamins, B complex, a lot of vitamin C. When I first took some, I was in Gambia and I had a upset stomach. Right after I drank it, my upset stomach went away. So it has very powerful healing effects. But you want to take your superfoods, foods which are easy to digest and give you lots of nutrients, lots of energy in return. So people who are world-class athletes, that's what they do. You know, like if I'm gonna like you hear these people talking about they're gonna go run a marathon, so they do what they call carbohydrate loading, carb loading. They eat a whole bunch of pasta and bread and all that. I think that's crazy. I can make my one little drink with my bee pollen, my moringa, and whatever other type of stuff I put in. I drink a glass of that. I go ride my bike for 40 miles. I don't have nothing else but water. I don't need to be having an energy bar and all kind of stuff. Ride my bike, go back and forth. I'm not tired. My muscles ain't sore. I'm not like getting cramps and none of that kind of stuff. Okay? So to understand this process, you got to understand too, some of the psychological, not only the psychological, but also the behavioral things that people do in response to stress. So you're under stress, and your body is releasing stored fats and sugars into the bloodstream. What do people do normally in response to their experience of stress? They go and they get some comfort food. So they go get a quart of some Edie's ice cream, and they eat that. They go get some cake. They go get some a whole big old thing of some soul food, whatever that is. They get some chicken and some macaroni and cheese and some cornbread, mix all together. They eat all that stuff up, you know. And so not only is their body releasing stored fats and sugar that are not being burnt up by physical activity, they're putting more fats and sugars back into their bloodstream, back into their body. And so they are creating conditions which you can call diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, heart disease, and stroke. Okay? So the response is maladaptive. The response is something that is causing the symptoms and the problem to become worse. Or they may do all those things, plus get some crack, snort some cocaine, smoke some cigarettes,
drink some wine,
get drunk on some alcohol, and then you listen to the commercials and all of those stuff they put on TV talking about, some red wine, and it lessens your chance of heart disease because it has resveratrol in it and all that stuff, a bunch of crap. Wine, I'm not saying never do this and never do that, because, I do some things down there. but drinking a glass of red wine is not a health food.
I know that's right.
It's alcohol. Grapes. The stuff that's supposed to be in red wine, you can get it in some grapes. You can get it in some strawberries, some plums, some blueberries, some blackberries, any type of dark type of fruit that has the stuff in it that makes it, to give it the color. It's called, the nutrient is called resveratrol, and it's good for your heart and stuff, and it's also an antioxidant. Drinking some red wine is not healthy. The alcohol kills your brain cells, okay? And then most of your wine is gonna have sulfites in it, right? And those are carcinogenic. So if you wanna have a wine now and then, but don't be thinking like, oh, I'm being healthy, you know, just admit it, you're just a lush. You know. Okay? So again, understand the physiology of exercise. When you exercise, I'm talking about like cardiovascular exercise. You got aerobic exercise and you have anaerobic, right? So anaerobic is like if I'm going to lift some weights, right? Is that correct, Mr. Personal Trainer?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's different. That's a different effect, right, than doing aerobic exercise. So we need to do a combination of both. Even if you do yoga, it's good to do other types of things too. The best, since I'm retired now, I took a swimming lesson because I could swim a little bit, but I just wanted to get better. So I took my swimming lesson because I want to combine yoga with swimming. So I already ride my bike, but I can only ride my bike when it's warm because I can't stand the cold anymore. I used to be able to ride my bike any time of year, but I got to get my mental state is not like it used to be when I was younger. So I don't ride my bike when it's cold because it'd be too cold. Can't take it. Can't take the cold no more like I used to. I used to do yoga, Tai Chi, it'd be like below zero. I'd be out there doing some Tai Chi and stuff. I don't feel cold. I don't even feel the chi. You know? I mean, I ain't care. I'd be doing yoga outside in the snow, all kind of stuff. But not no more. So swimming is really good. Swimming is really good. So I want to start increasing my swimming. And, doing some type of resistance training. When you do some type of weight training or something like that. And it's not just good for your muscles, it's good for your bones. That's why it's good for older people. When I say old, I mean older than me, okay? Elderly people to do resistance exercise to keep their bones from breaking down. I mean, they could be, in their 60s and stuff too, and 50s or whatever, because of the fact that most of those people most Americans are living such a poor lifestyle that they're losing bone mass and muscle mass anyway, and they're getting too much of a fat percentage compared to muscle percentage, So doing resistance exercises or some with weights or calisthenics. What you call it?
Calisthenics.
Okay, calisthenics. I'm trying to think of some. That might have some other names I don't know about.
Body weight exercise.
Body weight exercise, yeah. But you're doing different. I just learned the term resistance. And anytime you put resistance, you're strengthening muscle and strengthening bone, and that's important. The other thing with bones too is that milk kills the bones. Milk is acidic. It doesn't make your bones stronger. If you look at all the studies that's been done on the prevalence of osteoporosis, the countries which are the highest in dairy consumption had the highest osteoporosis rates. Osteo means bone, porosis means holes in the bones. Okay? And so there's a correlation between drinking milk and osteoporosis. And the reason is because physiologically milk is acidic. And so it leaches the calcium from the bones, So it's not something that's good to consume, even if it's skim milk and 1% and all that kind of stuff. They be trying to tell people, don't drink that stuff. You get more calcium from tomatoes. Green peppers got calcium. Broccoli got calcium.
Everything they throw out in the broccoli.
Green leafy vegetables got calcium. seaweed, all kind of stuff. It's all kind of calcium in your vegetables from vegetable sources, you know. So the key is to get those things into your body. Okay, so this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
From a fitness, you gotta understand this to understand how people combine, when stress is combined with a poor lifestyle, poor eating habits, it can lead to heart disease and diabetes and cancer. Why cancer? Why is stress related to cancer? Because your immune system, right?
Shut down.
Yeah. When you're under stress, your immune system, I mean, what is the immune system, first of all? If you got a drop of blood and put it underneath a microscope, you will see you got white blood cells, right? Somebody correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But you got these blood cells and you got these big blood cells that go around through your, what's it, phalanges? Or what's the name for those big blood cells? Well, anyway, they're like enforcers, right? And they move in, you could look at it in the microscope and you see them moving through your bloodstream.
No,
That's the inside of the
That's the DNA.
It's the big one that ain't goes.
Macro
The
phage or something. Yeah. It's some term. Y'all got Google out there. Google that stuff. Use some Google
What should I put in
shit.
there? The big one?
Put in there the white blood cell.
Different types of white blood.
Yeah. But when you see it underneath a microscope,
It's a big one.
it's big and it kind of glows, like it glows in the dark.
It's macrophage, you're right.
Microphage, yeah. And it moves to the bloodstream and it's sort of like, and then it's like, then I can see something that's not supposed to be there, and it do like this, and it's around it, and it crushes it. It ruptures the nucleus so it can't reproduce itself, right? Yeah.
Come with us sneezing, right?
Hmm?
Sometimes it come with us sneezing our mucus and stuff like that, right? When you squeeze it out.
Oh, now I'm talking about microscopically happening inside your blood. So you're talking about a cell. It's microscopic, but you get to see this process taking place underneath a microscope. And then so you see like a big cell, not like a big mucus ball, but I'm talking like what happens with mucus is when you have an irritant on the membranes within your body. The mucus is created to surround it. So like you get dust particles or you get pollen or you get something and it makes you it forms mucus and then you cough it out or you blow it out to your nose and stuff. But I'm talking about something that's happening microscopically within your bloodstream. So you can look at a drop of blood and you can see this taking place. So that thing is it's going to your blood and it's enforcing, it's looking for stuff that's not supposed to be there. So cancer, our cells, they say that we always are producing cancer cells, right? But your body's immune system is supposed to find the cancer cell, identify it and say, I'm about to kill you, get out of here. You know, and it kills it and it gets rid of the debris that's left over from the destroyed cell. So when you're under stress, your body is saying, I'm not going to do all that stuff because that's part of the sympathetic nervous system. What I'm going to do is work on fight or flight type of stuff. I'm going to put all my resources, all my energy into getting you ready to run or to fight, not to repair not to get rid of cancer, because cancer is long term. This is an emergency right now. I got to respond to. Okay, that's how your body is thinking. That's how your body is reacting, not thinking, but that's how it's programmed to respond and to operate. Okay, so all of these different processes and reactions within your body are governed by chemical processes, governed by hormonal secretions. Hormones are chemicals that are released by glands into the bloodstream. They send messages. So your body has two primary ways of transmitting messages, either through electrical impulses, which is through the nervous system, or through chemicals, which are released from the endocrine glands in your body. Okay, and so on your kidneys, which are in the back, your lower back, you have two kidneys. On top of each kidney, you have like a triangular or pyramidal shaped gland called the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands do what? They secrete adrenaline. And adrenaline is composed of different components. They carry out different functions that we call the stress reaction or the stress response. So you have norepinephrine and epinephrine. Norepinephrine responds to physical stressors such as extremes in temperature or the stress induced by exercise. So that releasing of the stored fats and sugars into the bloodstream, that's carried out by norepinephrine. It increases, it says norepinephrine, maybe I got that wrong. It increases heart rate and blood pressure. That's what norepinephrine does. Epinephrine releases the stored blood sugars and prepares the body for strenuous exercise. Okay, so remember all of these different responses in your body are for particular purposes, right? To help you to survive, to help you to live when you're under attack. So you have prolonged. So if a person has prolonged elevated adrenaline, adrenaline being released into their bloodstream for a prolonged period of time, it can lead to hypertension, ulcers, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and many other type of ailments, And so, again, at least 80-90% of all the ailments that people get in America and in Western cultures are stress related, okay? So, if you went to Africa, you might get bit by a mosquito who's carrying malaria. That is a contagious disease. You can get it from an insect, or you can get a disease from another person who you come in contact with, either their body fluids or whatever. But in terms of degenerative diseases, these are degenerative diseases that people who live in closer contact with nature, they don't really develop these degenerative diseases. They may get they may contract a contagious disease, right? Because of the environment, But these are all diseases of Western civilization, degeneration. Chronic stress or persistent stress is a result of unrelenting life stressors. So let's think about being a poor person, Like, I'm a social worker. So as a social worker, who are your clients? Your clients are people that's in need. They're mostly people who are in poverty, people who haven't had access to the same resources for education, the same resources for employment, so on and so forth. So these people are going to have stress. This is ongoing. You got to struggle to pay your rent every month. You got to struggle to get some food every day sometimes. That's stressful. You got kids. That's stress. Worrying about your children, so on and so forth. Plus being marginalized, right? And being on the edge of legitimacy and criminality, right? Because sometimes you might think, I remember I used to sell weed and stuff and do things and make me some money because I ain't had no money. So I sold me some weed and stuff,
Now it's almost legal.
Now it's almost legal. I'm gonna open me up one of them big weed places.
Dispensary.
A dispensary. I go to the dispensary. I go to the dispensary in Vegas, and I get little stuff. I get little stuff for little medicine. Get the little medicine stuff. Yeah, because you can use the stuff medicinal. I don't tell people to not use marijuana, but smoking it is crazy to me. Why would I put that smoke in my lungs? That doesn't make any sense. But if you have a need to use it on a medicinal level, you can get the kind that don't have the THC. You use it for medicinal purposes. It can calm the nervous system. It can have a lot of positive effects. And it's better than drinking a glass of wine. What you say?
Are better than those pills that a lot of people take for stress.
Yeah.
Kills the liver and kidneys.
Yeah.
Brain.
Yeah. So it's a lot of different things. Okay. So chronic stress. Every system in your body can be damaged by chronic stress. And so some of the additional effects of chronic stress is cessation of menstruation in women. Some women might be happy for that, but you don't want your menstruation to stop because you're under stress.
Right.
Impotency in men. Men are not happy with that, and women are not happy with that.
Exactly.
And this is probably epidemic. Loss of libido in both men and women. Increased symptoms of respiratory problems. Loss of insulin, which can result in adult onset diabetes. So, loss of libido and this sex thing, right? People's sex lives are important, okay? When I was a substance abuse counselor, I had older clients, and because they drank, they wasn't having sex. They ain't doing nothing. But when when I started my program, I created a whole protocol, right? Because I was looking at the program I was working for, they had a 2% success rate of getting people off of alcohol, right? And so I looked at what they was doing. So in medicine, you have something called iatrogenic, right? Iatrogenic means doctor or hospital-induced disease. So the alcohol treatment facility was creating alcoholism because they was giving people donuts, sweet rolls, coffee, and all this stuff, and they could have it all day long. And they was able to smoke cigarettes all day long, drink coffee all day long. So they gave them sugar, they gave them nicotine, and they gave them caffeine as an alternative to drinking alcohol. So what does sugar do in your body? It turns to alcohol. So people were having relapse because they was filling themselves up for the sugar. So my intervention and my restructuring of the program, which caused all the different staff to get mad at me, was that I took the coffee machine and I put a herb tea machine. So they were drinking peppermint tea. I took away the sugar and I put some honey there. I took away the donuts and sweet rolls and stuff, and I got some, I went to the natural bakery. I got whole wheat bread and some peanut butter and some apple butter and stuff for them to use that to sweet. And I got my mother a job there cooking food. So she would make some, I wasn't trying to make them vegans, but she would make like some baked chicken, some natural mashed potatoes, some greens, stuff like that. Just basic stuff that they would eat. And so they had a nutritious, by Western standards, a nutritious meal. And then they would do yoga, Tai Chi. We would go outside and do exercise out in the sun and stuff like that. And then they have smoothies every day. So the smoothies had bee pollen and all kind of different superfoods and stuff in it. So then one of my older clients, it was him and an older lady. The lady she didn't have no hair because alcohol just mess you up. She didn't have no hair. Her name was Miss Queen, right? We call her Queenie, and so I forget the brother's name, but they used to call me Mr. Lawrence. He said, "Mr. Lawrence, hey Lawrence, me and Queenie, we got it on last night." And she was like, So this man told me he hadn't had sex in like 30 years.
Oh my God.
But eating all that bee pollen and doing some Tai Chi and stuff and breathing, it rejuvenated. And he was like in his 70s, And he recharged, so it had a very positive effect upon the body.
Well,
So
have you heard of mortality that talks about not having sex to
Ejaculation, not
Yeah.
having sex, but holding the
holding the semen in?
yeah, I know Max actually, yeah.
Well, what do you think about that?
I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother level. You're
That's a
not,
whole other level.
yeah. How do you know you ain't had sex in your life? No, so there's techniques and stuff where you the whole idea of that is that a man is supposed to hold in the seed. Not that you're gonna still have an orgasm without ejaculation. But the woman on the other hand, she's the opposite, right? She should have
More pleasure than life.
yeah. And so what you're getting is an exchange of energy. So the woman is absorbing the male energy, the male is absorbing the female energy.
Right.
That's how it's supposed to work. But people have taken that and made it into all kind of freaky stuff, and saying all kind of stuff and using all kind of little words to hit on people and stuff like that, and talking a whole bunch of smack. But don't fall for all that stuff. If you're gonna do that stuff, get you a mate that you're in tune with, and be with that person. Don't be doing all this other stuff. Listen to all this crap that these brothers be talking. Don't fall for the okie doke. They all out here, and they talking about all that stuff. All they doing is taking some Viagra.
That's heart medication.
Yeah, all that stuff is,
That's heart medication. It'll work for a minute, but then it's gonna reverse. Because that came by as no heart medication, and then when they were doing the testing, and they found that the men were getting erection, because it was a lot of older people, but the side effect, the men were getting erection, and so let's dose it how we gonna do it, and give it to them to get the erection, but it's messing with the heart. That's why you see with some of them, they'll stroke out, they'll have a heart attack and stuff like it's heart medication.
Yeah, it's supposed to increase blood circulation. But if your arteries you can have clogged arteries to any part of your body, right? And so you still trying to push blood through a confined space. The arteries are still constricted, and you're still trying to pump blood through there. So you might get a temporary relief in terms of getting erection and stuff like that. But eventually you still trying to pump blood through that small confined space. It's going to have damaging effects upon your body. So, but man, Tai Chi and Taoist, those Taoist practices, and don't get all that stuff mixed up with what they call tantric yoga either. People mix up what's called Kama Sutra, which is a whole bunch of different sexual positions that was started. All of that stuff started in the Middle Ages in India, and it was by these princes and these what you call them, noble, so-called noble rich people who were just basically having orgies and stuff, you know. And so they had these little books called Kama Sutra, and they supposed to teach them, well, get in this position, do that position, do all kind of stuff, you know. That has nothing to do with tantric yoga. When you see image of Shiva and Shakti, right? Shiva is the male, Shakti is the female. And you see Shiva in Indian iconography, you see Shiva seated like in this with his legs crossed, and you see Shakti on top of him, sitting on top of him. They're in the sacred embrace, right? And that represents male, female energy, the merging of those two energies in a creative, energetic way, right? That's what you can call that yin and yang, the yin and yang symbol. That's what it's, but it's not like 20,000 different positions and all kind of stuff, you know. So people confuse all those different things. What we are doing is tantric yoga, because tantric yoga is really cultivating your energy, cultivating your life force, and bringing balance and harmony between those two opposite life force expressions that operate in your body. You're trying to bring balance between them. So most of your work is with yourself. It's not with, oh baby, let's do some tantric yoga, you know, all that kind of stuff. That doesn't make any sense. You know, if you haven't developed your own internal abilities and stuff to get in tune with yourself, then you trying to put the cart before the horse. You know, so so anyway, okay. Any other questions? Yeah, but again, don't fall for that okie dokie. You people be talking a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. Okay, so we got to get out of here because we can't stay past 5. So in a nutshell, when we're doing yoga, you already know this. When we're doing yoga, when we're doing Tai Chi, meditation, breathing, we are activating the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system. So it's the twin opposite of the sympathetic part of your autonomic nervous system. It performs maintenance, rebuilding, and rejuvenation of the body systems. It restores equilibrium and a balance to the system. It's a self-healing aspect of the body. It lowers heart rate, lowers blood pressure, slows your breathing, lessens perspiration, and accelerates gastric activity for proper food digestion. Okay? So this is all the different benefits that you're receiving when you're doing yoga, meditation, when you're doing things like, when you do things that make you feel good, just simply being in a positive environment. When you paint your house in a proper color, right? It makes you feel good. You furnish your home with things that makes you feel good. You go out on a daily basis, you go by the lake to meditate, or go by the ocean, or go out to the forest, being surrounded by nature and things like that. Go out by the river, you know, whatever it is that you have accessible to you, in the park. All those things are things which are going to automatically activate those stress releasing and healing forces in your body. So those are called the you have certain chemicals that your body and your brain creates. Some of them are called endorphins, right? Some of them are called dopamine. And so these are These are chemicals that your body can naturally create that relieve pain, that makes you feel pleasure, that makes you feel good. When people take drugs, why do they take drugs? Because the drugs are releasing some of these neurotransmitters into their bloodstream to make them feel good. But they're artificial, right? So you have certain centers in your brain. Those centers are made up of what? They're made up of cells. The cells are specialized. They carry out certain functions, like the release of these particular chemicals that make you feel good and make you feel high, right? So the chemical comes, so a person smokes some crack, and the molecule from the crack fits into the space in the brain that's associated with being high. So then, if you're used to getting high, doing your yoga, your meditation and stuff, and you smoke some crack, your natural endorphins that normally fit into that spot ain't gonna fit no more, because the crack is gonna distort it. It's gonna change the structure. So then, when you try to do something that normally would make you feel good, you don't feel good no more. The only thing that makes you feel good is the crack. But then, you only smoke one rock, and you felt really good. You smoke one rock again, you don't feel nothing. Now you gotta smoke 2 rocks. You gotta smoke 3 rocks, and then 4 rocks. Then you become a crackhead on the corner talking about, doing all that crazy stuff, looking like Dave Chappelle's character. And so that's what's happening. And so there's a whole nother part of this that deals with addiction, the physiology of addiction. What is addiction? What exactly is happening in the brain of a person who is addicted? And addiction is alcohol, so-called illegal drugs, legal drugs, food. We got food masquerading as drugs, right? Sex. Sex is a big one. You have people doing all kinds of different stuff with sex because they're trying to make themselves feel good, because they're trying to stimulate those endorphins and stuff that's associated with sex. Even you could be in love with somebody. You can say, I love so-and-so so much. And if somebody was to take a syringe and draw those chemicals out your brain associated with love, you look at that person and say, I don't care nothing about that person no more. Because everything is endorphins. When the person that you're in love with, or the person that you're in like with, or the person that you're attracted to, why do you feel attracted to that person? Because there's a stimulation of some whatever you associate with how that person looks or how that person talks. There is a certain chemical reaction in your body and in your brain that's associated with those things that you find attractive. When I was in Jamaica, when people come to Jamaica, who been in Jamaica with me? What's my speech? I tell people, I say, do not get out here with these dudes on the beach. Because almost inevitably, one of the sisters in my group is like, they're gonna disappear for like 2 or 3 days. I was like, where's she go? One sister disappeared for the whole retreat. And then she came back like the last day looking for a certificate. And she didn't talk to me, but she told the other sisters, they told me, she said that she was walking down the street and this dude said, whatever he said was the right thing. In her mind, it was the right thing. So it triggered whatever it was in her that made her spin.
They had a male prostitutes out there. I remember one of the retreats. They be coming to the women.
Oh, all of the dudes on the street is prostitutes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They prostitutes. If they come to you and they say, "Hey sister, hey queen," they're home. They're male. I'm talking about in the grill along the beach. I ain't talking about just in Jamaica.
That's what I'm talking about on the beach, because one came to me, the one in 2014, one of the Jamaica retreat, and how he approached me was, because I was one of the first people there, and he was like, "You need company?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And he stopped hanging around. well, do you want company? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm, with a group of people, I'm fine. And he was just hanging around. And then I caught on, oh, this is one of these cats that was solicited. I was like a little slow on it.
But all of them are. They can see a white woman this big.
Oh, yeah, I see.
They don't care. And,
He talks about it.
huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they just don't care. But so the thing is that a lot of times we do things driven by hormones, and because we don't understand hormones, we think the hormone, which is shaping our consciousness, is real. It creates a false matrix of reality that is not real. And so that's why we have to learn how to use the breath, how to use our movements and postures to not allow ourselves to be caught up into all kind of stuff. Even in the African dance community, I remember back in the day when these brothers was come from Senegal, they come to Chicago, and they real black, and they got they real black, and they got a thick accent. They from Senegal and stuff. I ain't saying nothing about your husband. But they have a thick accent. They're tall, dark, and handsome. I mean, when I was in Senegal, I was like looking at the women. I was like, damn, these women is like, they're like fantastic. I mean, you go to Africa, you be like, damn. But women fall for that deep voice and that accent. Even the Indian dudes from yoga, because they have an accent and they wearing certain type of clothes, everybody think they know something. Most of these people don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. They just coming over here talking some smack, wearing some garbs and stuff. They got I'm Swami such and such and such and such, and everybody's flocking to them. I know some of these people who they open it, these are white people, not the black, because black people ain't got enough money. But the white people that's like building them meditation center, I'm like, damn, I'm waiting for that. I ain't got no. And then the dude is teaching meditation, and he be like, close your eyes, feel the universe coming through you. Can you feel your godlike nature? That's all he's doing. It's like, and then the people that's building him centers and moving them all over the world and stuff, and I'll be like,
But that was enlightenment for white folks.
Yes, exactly.
I said, but they got the money and the resources, but that's enlightenment for that group of people, because they didn't have that. They didn't have it. They don't have it.
well,
Yeah, they didn't have it.
I had some of my people go to that thing, and they was like, you should have seen it. It was so pathetic, and people was eating it up. It wasn't even nothing about breathing, nothing about just nothing.
Where's what I
I'm on the video. I am not gonna talk. I'll tell you later.
Yes, here's five.
Bye.